and welcome to another episode of Chatty Broads with Bekah and Jess.
Well, there's two big things going down.
There are two big things going down right now, broads.
Okay. First, massive, huge,
Gigantic.
dripping, juicy,
Moist.
meaty. Merch drop tomorrow.
Meaty was too much.
It's a meaty merch drop. And actually, if you go on the gram and look at the sneak peek photos,
It is meaty.
dude. Okay, Jess and I, we pretty much put together all the concepts for this
Yes, we did.
merch drop.
Yes, we
It
did.
is a Chatty Bros merch collection.
The Chatty Bros finally have merch. Did we design? Yes. But did they put together the photo concepts? 100%.
Well, I love it though because I felt like it was our vision for them. Like
Yes.
they were our muses.
They
you
were our
know?
muse.
And I felt like we just created this just perfect creation for them to showcase. And my God, are they showcasing it?
Broads, it is coming. It is coming on Friday.
So yeah, tomorrow
morning.
if you're listening when this comes out.
Yes, if you are listening on Thursday, it is tomorrow, 9 a.m. Pacific time, 9 a.m. Friday, the merch will drop, and it is very much a bachelorette themed, sexy, maybe some thongs, maybe some cowboy hats.
Gorgeous girls.
Gorgeous girls, you know, some scandalage, bachelorette, Vegas energy, Chatty Bros merch.
But actually some of the shirts too that we designed are just straight up sick. Like the
I'm
airbrush
obsessed.
with the sleeves.
Oh.
Like I love it.
Obsessed.
Dude, so much cute stuff. So the best way to go there, because it's not as straightforward as like chattybroads.com. It's like .shop something, whatever. So go on the Instagram, the Chatty Broads Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Go in our link tree. We will have a link to the merch. I'm sure we'll have it up in our stories too.
Yes,
Keep an eye on
definitely.
that. This is like, it's incredible.
It's really
If
fun.
nothing else, go look at the photos that the guys put together for the shoot because they did all of that. It's amazing.
They crushed it.
Dude, what a drop for the books. So tomorrow, check that out. Friday. Woo, woo, woo. Okay.
And number 2.
Okay. I didn't think I was going to be nervous, but I actually am so nervous right now.
I'm so excited.
I'm actually about to see one of my ex-boyfriends for the first time in almost 5 years.
That's wild.
I actually haven't seen him in person. We've like chatted on the phone here or there, or texted on Instagram and whatever. Like we've definitely conversed. But I actually
For 5 years, though, you haven't seen.
I'm pretty surprised it's been that long because we both are like LA, Fresno. But yeah, I haven't seen him in almost 5 years. My ex-boyfriend Chris is coming on the podcast. He's such a good sport. And
I cannot wait. And I know that you had posted some questions.
yeah,
for the
and I
people
actually
to
sent him a
ask
bunch of them too. So
Okay, so he's been preparing. Oh, that's
he's
nice.
been preparing.
He has some time to prepare. That's
Because
good.
some
That's
of them were
good.
very thoughtful. Some of them were very interesting questions. Some of them, though, were... I'm like, wow, you guys really think I'm a fucking nightmare? But some of them were like really thought-provoking too. So I'm glad that he got to see some of those and really like hopefully think on it. But yeah, I'm really nervous.
I cannot wait.
I'm also gonna like, there's gonna be a little bit of confrontation too, where I'm gonna be like, you need to fucking like own up that you did this.
Now I'm even doubly
I
more
brought him on
excited.
the podcast to corner him.
So how long did you guys date?
Well, we'll clear all this up because we were definitely...
it's one of those answers. Okay.
I mean, we officially were boyfriend-girlfriend for about 1.5 years.
Okay.
But then we were... Yeah, there was like definitely another year or so where we were entangled, I'll say.
All right. Well, we're going to find out more. So
Yeah.
should we just hop into this interview with him?
Yes.
Should we bring him in?
Bring him in!
All right. We'll bring him in.
Dripping sweat. And without further ado, we have my ex-boyfriend Chris on.
Hi, Chris.
Wave to the people. Say hi.
I can't tell which one.
Which is my camera.
Right
Oh,
here.
Your camera's here in case at any awkward moment with a weird question, you can do an office type, just stare into it, just so you know.
Gym.
Yeah, gym moment. But yeah, thanks for coming. I was just telling Jess that I actually have not seen you in person in almost 5 years.
Just about, yeah.
Yeah.
That's wild.
I know. 2017 and it's 2022.
But you all just continue to DM and text sometimes?
Just insults usually on Instagram.
Usually just like calling each other's stories out or whatever.
Yeah.
See, that's a special moment though, because when you've known someone for a really long ass time, I have this with just friends on social media, where if we've been friends since early high school and I post some story and they'll just roast my ass on DMs. They're like, "You're not this way. Like, what the hell are you talking about?" Oh
yeah, there's definitely that type of thing. Where it's like, I feel like we've gotten a lot nicer to each other over the years, but definitely for a little while there, it was like very pointed, where I would just DM and be like, "LOL, you would, like, you fucking liar." Like literally like that kind of shit, just starting something, which says a lot about our relationship, I think. Okay, what I wanted to say is what you guys have in common, actually. Can you guess what you guys have in common? It's a pretty big one. Worship teamers over here.
Cut that out.
Remove this.
Not good for my image. So Chris was a longtime worship team drummer, actually. And Chris is a great drummer. Jess was vocalist over here.
Oh, man.
Listen, I think that is a special bond because we only... If you've been in a worship team green room and experienced that for numerous years, it's kind of just something that you can't quite explain to other people.
It's that hedge of protection.
Hedge of protection. I'm no longer on the worship team. Not sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Me neither.
Okay.
It's been some time.
Then we also have that in common. It's been quite a few years, but
Actually, you were still drumming for the church when we were together.
Yeah, it kind of lingered on for a while.
It's a good gig.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
cool.
I still know a lot of people who aren't involved in the church who do some serious drumming and guitar playing on the weekends for different churches.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, let's get into the meat because we're not here to talk about worship teams. Okay. First of all, I thought it would just be fun to have someone with a perspective to answer questions about what it was like dating me, because Grayson has to choose his words carefully on the podcast, even though he doesn't. And he does not hold back. But also, I don't know. I just think it's interesting. I got a lot of people DMing me just being like, "That's weird. Why would you do that? It's in the past. Leave it in the past." I'm like, I don't know.
I am truly fascinated by it.
What is your perspective?
I can see the mixed feelings. Or I understand both sides, but I think I'm more on the fascinated side of it.
Well, I think it's interesting to look back on like what kind of relationship you had with someone and then like where were you then and then where are you now?
Yeah, I think in any relationship that's just like a cool thing to,
friendship, family, whatever. Also shout out to your current girlfriend Gianna.
Yeah.
Did she have any reservation about you coming on?
No, not really.
She was just like,
shout out
cool.
Gianna.
Yeah.
And actually I have spent hundreds of dollars on her floral arrangements. Yeah, no, I've sent a couple.
That's your girlfriend?
Yes.
Oh my God, she is
crazy.
so talented. They're stunning.
Amazing.
Stunning.
So what's Flor del Cielo?
Yeah.
On Instagram though, is that it?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway.
They're so good.
I'm going to shout her out on Instagram because she's awesome. But
yeah,
I mean, Gray was like, whatever. He didn't care either. And it was weird to me that people were saying it was disrespectful because it's like, I only think it's disrespectful if you're going against what your current significant other wants.
Sure.
Yeah, if there's not that communication, if the other person's like, please do not, then, but of course. Yeah. I talked to Evan about it too. I was like, if I have one of my exes on the show, like, would that bother you? He's like, I could care less. Like, go ahead. Now, I don't think that we'd have as great of a conversation that we're going to have from you two. I think there'd be a lot of awkwardness because we're not friends anymore. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. And I think as far as that goes, like, I probably wouldn't do it with certain other exes just because it wasn't like, it was, the way it ended wasn't like, like a
I have names on my mind and I'm like, that would be, I would listen.
No, like, yeah. No. Yeah.
We don't need to name names. We don't need to name names. But no, it definitely depends on how the relationship ended, and then also how it currently is. Where it's like, I have plenty of friends. I would love to be friends with some of my exes, but
would you say we're friends though?
I would say so. I mean, not like. Well, what do you mean?
Well, no. I'm like, no. I would say we're friendly, but it's like not like we're actively friends.
No,
like
not
I said, like we
hang out all the time type friends.
Or
but.
even like really talk about. I don't know. It's not like we talk about our lives with each other or anything.
No, not in that aspect.
But it's friendly.
Yes.
It's not like if
I
I
have a lot of friends in that kind of category, but then like I have my best friends that
sure. People you sort of like keep tabs on and right.
Especially when it comes to the past too. It's like I have plenty of people in my life who I was really close with and now I don't talk to, but I'm still friendly with them.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, why don't you start? How did we meet? And
that's a funny story. How did we meet? We met because there was your neighbor.
Yes.
I had been like talking to, and
oh my God. Okay. Yeah. Actually,
it was a long like off and on thing.
So Fresno is where we're both from, which is interesting because it's very incestuous. It's like a big city, but there's very small groups. It's actually kind of messy because funny. So you guys were like, I'll use dating loosely, but like, yeah, like you said, talking, but well,
we had been, remember?
You had been dating.
And then she started dating somebody else. Then after that ended, then we kind of started like just like hanging out again. Not really, it wasn't really spoken as far as like what the situation was.
Right, there were no labels, but
but it was kind of like we've obviously done this before, so it kind of just like unspokenly went back into a similar situation.
But she had also dated in the past your best friend, who I had hooked up with, and she was really pissed about that.
Oh, wow. So the webs it's entangled.
So
Welcome to Fresno.
So I had hooked up with your best friend / her serious ex-boyfriend. She was not happy about that. We were next door neighbors.
Drama.
Yeah. We had been next door neighbors since like 8 years old.
Yeah.
And
so then basically I was hanging out with her and she was like, hey, do you want to go to my neighbor's house and like hang out by the pool, whatever? I was like, yeah, sure. And so we went over and she was the
That's
neighbor.
not the first time we met though.
Lounging by the pool.
This is so just, yeah, I'm just like.
Just fully oiled up.
Glasses. No, so like we were neighbors and we had very different households. Her house was kind of like a more free-for-all. That's where everyone would kind of go to like smoke and drink and everything else. And my home was the hedge of protection.
Where you went and prayed.
So, by the way, did you see the question of the person who was like, something about Becca's family and like, is her dad intimidating? Did
I saw that. I couldn't wait to answer that one.
Yes.
So they talk about that on the podcast. Jess and her husband and Gray have had multiple conversations about my dad on the podcast. So I'm so excited that you can contribute with your opinion. But so I would go over to her house, like I would sneak out to my neighbor's house at like 3 a.m. and we would everyone would just be fucked up. So I had met you like times before, I think. Maybe, probably. But anyway.
I don't remember.
But yeah, you were at my house and I actually was with my other boyfriend at the time. We were having a kickback because my parents were out of town.
Oh, yes.
Situation.
The best.
So I guess, yeah, that was the first time that we actually met.
Yeah.
So what was your first impression of me?
First impression, attractive.
Yeah.
And then, well, I didn't know who it was. So it's like, that's as much. Okay. Yeah. And then after getting to know her, you deal with things like that. And it's like, Jesus. But we'll save those for the questions. Yeah.
So my first impression of Chris, I've told you this before, right? Like my first impression was like, you were like too high to talk. And I was like, there is something like wrong with this person. Like he is.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a whole group of like a Facebook page of people think that there's something wrong with me.
I was literally like, is he stupid? Like he is.
It's all part
like,
of the
really the mystique.
Yeah. So you really swindle them.
So I was like, yeah, I was also like, I knew Kylie was kind of talking to you, and I was just like, this is strange. I don't get this. That night was also, I got the worst hangover of my life, and I had to go to the feed store the next morning to get alfalfa for our goats, and I was in the feed store with sunglasses on, just like about to vomit at any second.
Jesus.
Fun fact.
Ugh.
We were drinking like limeritas.
I think we really were. We were like shotgunning them.
Oh,
Something absurd.
Limerita.
For no reason.
So cut to like, oh my God, probably like 2 years later, because I lived in Irvine, went to school there, and then I dropped out. And how did we even, did you like add me on Snapchat?
Yes. I think at that night at the pool, I think we exchanged Snapchats.
Sus.
Oh.
So it begins.
Yeah.
Okay, broads, need to interrupt this conversation quickly. We're about to find out some things about our dear Bekah here. But first, listen, everyone's life path looks different. What I experience daily is different from what Bekah experiences daily. And
from what Chris experiences
daily, and you know, different from what you all experience. But there's one thing similar about everyone's journey, and that's that it isn't always smooth. Life can throw you some pretty unexpected curveballs, but the most important thing is how you take care of yourself to get through it all. I cannot say enough positive things about Talk Therapy, and Talkspace is the company that has set out to make therapy available to everyone.
No matter what you're dealing with or what kind of struggles you're facing, Talkspace can help. There are thousands of licensed therapists that specialize in dozens of different areas just waiting to be matched with you on Talkspace. And after you find your perfect therapist, you can get started right away with 24/7 messaging, audio, and video live sessions. So instead of waiting for a therapist to fit you in or you having to rearrange your entire schedule to make an appointment, Talkspace gives you access to therapy on your terms, when it's most convenient for you.
That has to be one of the biggest positives of Talkspace. A few years ago when I was starting to start therapy, it was impossible to find a therapist whose schedule matched up with mine. Talkspace takes away all the stress of scheduling and lets you focus on what's important, getting the help you need as soon as you need it. And unlike traditional in-person therapy, Talkspace is a fraction of the cost. 1 month of Talkspace will cost you less than most single in-person sessions.
Get the one-size-fits-one support you need with Talkspace. Sign up today at Talkspace.com and get $100 off your first month with promo code Chatty. That's $100 off at Talkspace.com, promo code Chatty.
So when my daughter Ember was younger, and fine, this still happens sometimes, I would think back through what I had eaten throughout the day when I was inevitably starving at dinner time. And it was then I would realize, this could very well have something to do with the fact that the majority of my meals for the day were really just leftovers from whatever Ember was eating, mom stuff.
Yep.
I already know every single parent can relate to that, but listen up, because we deserve so much more than our kids' leftovers, okay?
Yeah, and you shouldn't just be like picking at the random little like fruit snacks and stuff. You should be nourishing your body.
Yes,
it's really
of course.
important. That's why I always keep my freezer stocked with meal and snack options from Daily Harvest, because all it takes is a few minutes. You can have something fresh, healthy, and delicious ready to eat. Also, it makes a great snack or meal for your child as well.
Absolutely.
My kids love Daily Harvest. Like they will open up the freezer and be like, that's what I want. They never use any added sugars or preservatives. It is literally just whole organic fruits and vegetables prepared in so many different ways. And you can have one of their fresh fruit smoothies for breakfast. You can have a hearty soup for lunch. They even have plant-based dessert options when you're craving something sweet. And like I mentioned, I keep everything in my freezer. It stays completely fresh until you're ready to eat it. It could not be easier, especially when we get back from traveling and we haven't gone grocery shopping. It's like, boom, Daily Harvest, healthy meal ready to go.
Oh, absolutely. I mentioned earlier in the episode how much I love the strawberry peach smoothie in the morning, especially as we get into summertime. It's the perfect way to get through that day nourished, like Bekah was saying, and it's delicious. And literally after we finish recording, I'm going to have that tomato basil flatbread for lunch, which is one of my other favorites from Daily Harvest. Mouth is watering already just thinking about it.
Drop the kids' leftovers and give yourself something delicious and nourishing. Go to dailyharvest.com/chatty for up to $40 off your first box. That's dailyharvest.com/chatty for up to $40 off your first box. dailyharvest.com/chatty. And then you replied to something on Snapchat?
I don't know exactly. I think for a while we were just like sending each other just like photos of like our everyday, like whatever, like, oh, look, there's a pen, but it was just
general.
That
just
was
general
such
photos.
an era of time, by the way. Of
Snapchat was an era.
And when you would converse via Snapchat. So like, I would post something on my Snapchat story and then you'd reply and be like, LOL. And then you'd send me a picture of your coffee and be like,
something just to open conversation.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then we started texting. I actually had a boyfriend at the time that was in Irvine though.
Okay.
And I had moved back to Fresno, like sort of indefinitely. So I kind of like, me and this boyfriend kind of knew it was over, but we hadn't officially ended things. And so, so then we were talking via text. And then you were like, oh, how about I was like, why don't you give me drum lessons?
Yes.
What an in, what a move.
Oh my goodness. Yes. That's so funny. Yeah.
So
she became an incredible drummer.
Yes, exactly. So that's why I'm a drummer today.
So
that's her
the lesson
biggest
never
passion.
happened.
So so I went over to and you lived with your parents too
At the time, yeah. I mean,
why don't you just I'll let you take it over because I've been talking a lot.
What do you mean you came over?
I came over to your house.
Yes. I thought that was after we were talking for a while.
Yeah, that's why I said, like, can you give me drum lessons?
Oh my gosh. Okay, now I remember this.
Yes.
So I invited her over to my parents' house.
Okay.
And for the drum lessons. And that's when my parents met you. And I'm pretty sure we did do lessons. Like, it was like maybe 5-10 minutes of just like teaching her how to hold drumsticks.
Right.
And
a
then
paradiddle or two.
Yeah. And then back in my head, I'm like, this is pointless.
Right. You're like, are we really gonna follow through on this game right now?
What
like,
if I just
clearly?
actually strictly just became your tutor?
You're like, okay, that's been an hour. Bye.
Yeah.
Like on the
I take Venmo, PayPal, Cash App.
And that's like all it ever was.
Fuck.
No, and I actually don't. So, I don't really remember what happened after that. But basically, I eventually did break up with my boyfriend at the time within the next month or so.
Yeah, it was.
And I don't know.
Yeah, that part's all very fuzzy to me.
It was
I totally forgot you were dating somebody too.
I know.
I just remembered that.
I know.
You said it.
I kind of forgot that too. But it was
She blocked it out.
That guy's somewhere. He's like, I never forgot.
Poor guy. I don't think he knew because he was in another city, and then I just had to break up with him over the phone and deal with all that thing. But
he's a follower.
But you know what I do remember is I think that we technically got into a relationship pretty fast.
It happened pretty fast, yeah.
Because I remember
where it was like an official relationship.
Yeah, I think I pushed it into that
pretty quickly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just remember it was 6 weeks after we even first started hanging out, where I was crying to my parents, being like, just let him come to Thanksgiving. He doesn't have any family.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Do you remember that?
Oh my God, no. I lived with
Okay, I know, but you know how my family does Thanksgiving, where I have a really big extended family.
So they thought they were doing their volunteer work by letting me come to dinner?
Well, I wanted
he doesn't have any family. He's like, I'm living with my parents right now.
Well, I wanted you to come and you wanted to come. And so I was like, and then they were like, no, you just started dating this guy. And I was like, crying, being manipulative.
That's so funny.
Just being like, well, but he doesn't have a big family like that. Just and also though, all my cousins would always bring their 2-week-old boyfriends.
Oh, so you were like, please.
Everyone did this. And my mom was like, we're imposing. I'm like, 50 people are coming. No one's going to care if Chris comes.
Yeah.
Just let him come with us, Mom, please. So that was pretty early on in our relationship. But
yeah, it was pretty.
Yeah, I don't know. So and then only 6 months after we started dating, we both moved to LA. So
okay, wow.
Was it 6 months? I mean, there was that whole period where you had that art house studio.
Oh my God, where we'd made no art.
No art. It was just an apartment, pretty much.
Yeah, basically. There were like these studios in downtown Fresno where it was like $200 a month. You could have like, it was like in a warehouse.
Yeah.
And you could have like a studio space. And so me and a friend split it. And we literally had like a couch and an air mattress and like table and chairs there. And we would...
It's like throw
Do you
parties
remember
there.
the time we spent the night with like Myrick and we were like freezing?
Freezing. Just like Myrick was like sitting up, just like that's so funny. I remember that. I was just gonna bring that up.
Because all we wanted to do was just party and like we both lived with our parents.
Right, so you guys rented a studio to work
to make art.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you're like, life is art. So honestly, me sleeping on this air mattress and having big parties, it's art. It's just a moving
performance.
Art.
It's performance
It's all
art.
part of the whole thing.
Yeah, so that was like a big part of that phase too, definitely. And I will say, I don't think I've ever... that was definitely one of the times in my life where I smoked weed more than probably any other time in my life, because you would smoke about 1/8 of weed every day in blunts. Do you want me to cut that? Anyway, so that was that. Then we moved to LA. Chris got an apartment, which he still has and is paying an ungodly amount. And by ungodly, I mean cheap amount in rent in Echo Park.
God bless. You got in.
It is such a prime location. So that was pretty neat that we like both moved to LA. Well, I already had my plan. Remember, I was just like, in May, I'm moving to Los Angeles.
With that down, remember?
Oh yeah, in Orange County.
Yeah, you lived in Orange County.
Yeah, because I used to nanny for a family in Newport, and so they said like, hey, you can come like stay in our back house for like a month in the interim when you're like moving. So, and I think they were going out of town, so I like house sat, and I actually had a nanny job in Santa Monica. So every day, if you're in the LA area, I would drive from literally Newport to Santa Monica or to Venice for my job, back and forth. And then he got an apartment with his best friend, who was also the one who I used to hook up with.
Okay. Fresno connection continues.
Web.
Sure, back to the web, moving to Los Angeles.
Yeah, and so that was just interesting. It was just an interesting time. And then my roommate was our neighbor's little sister, the one that he dated. So then I started living with his ex's little sister.
How does that happen?
You know,
it's never weird.
Now that I'm saying
it's never weird because we're from Fresno. I guess it's just like, I don't
Everyone's
know.
Just
but then once you
like
once you just describe the situation, it's like, oh shit.
You're like, how does everyone stay connected?
Yeah, I don't know. But I was telling Chris before we even started recording, like I've gotten so many DMs from Fresno people that are like, oh shit, is it Chris? Like, oh, this is going to be interesting.
Great.
You're like, thank you for that.
Your reputation precedes you. Why don't you talk a little about that? How would you describe your reputation in Fresno in high school?
That's irrelevant.
I'm serious.
No.
You don't want to describe it?
What's my reputation in Fresno?
Yeah.
I mean, kind of, I'm sure it depends who you're asking.
Okay, so this is something that I really wanted to talk about because I was... Okay, this is going to sound dramatic if I use the word exposed, but like I just had a lot of interesting experiences while we were dating because of your connections with people.
Okay.
Because literally, are you getting nervous? Because literally we would go to church and you would be drumming, and then the same week, and I don't know if this is politically correct to say, you literally took me to a trap house. Do you remember that?
Not at all.
It's like I have no recollection.
Literally, like, do you remember that?
Yeah.
Like going to an apartment where there are mattresses on the floor, like pit bulls, rifles on the counter, bags of stuff, and the dudes are going around. Remember when everyone would go on those little zippy things? Those like little things you stand on?
Oh my God. Those little Segway things. Okay.
Yeah, what are those things?
Just trying to get incriminating.
What one of those?
Yeah, the little segways.
The segways,
right?
but the handles.
Yeah.
Without the handle, yeah.
Yeah, without the handles. Mm-hmm. And then there were two guys
little
just zip
hoverboards.
around on those,
Yeah.
Snapchatting, and I'm just like terrified. And I think that's something that's interesting about you is that you can be very diverse in your network of people that you interact with.
If you're a cool person, I'll befriend you.
Yeah.
I don't really care, I guess.
Listen,
You're the pastor, you're the local drug dealer.
Yeah. If you're cool, we're cool. Yeah.
You just turn this into this like inspirational thing of like at the end of the day, we're all breathing the same oxygen. We're all just out here trying to survive.
Doesn't matter.
But I mean, that was something that was interesting about our relationship, is especially when we were in Fresno. I don't know. That was just, for me, unique. It was something that I was not used to.
One of the questions was, what was one of the craziest like situations that we had been in, and my answer was going to be on New Year's, which is similar to.
I totally forgot about that.
What happened?
Like, I didn't even, as I was like,
what?
no, I mean, I didn't forget about it, but like, as I was thinking about stories, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about it?
Okay. So that one was probably the craziest just because of the consequences from the whole night. But went to a New Year's party.
Dude, we always talk about, by the way, Jess and I always talk about how New Year's is always disappointing and never goes as planned.
Always disappointing. This one sounds like it might not have been, though.
Oh, it was.
Oh, no. It couldn't. It was.
Couldn't have been worse.
Okay.
It was one of the worst New Year's ever.
Okay. Continue.
One of the worst ways to kick off a year.
Yeah. Oh, man. It was. Oh, God. Okay. So we went to this New Year's party with a lot of the people that were all part of previous said house.
Mm-hmm.
Really? Was it the same people? Same crowd?
It was relatively, yeah. And this one, so naive to the world.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a packed house. It's a big New Year's party. Just left her cell phone out.
No.
Yes.
No.
100%.
This is what happened. We rolled up. We go to the counter. I'm taking shots with someone. Chris, my phone was in front of me on the counter.
Okay. So she set it down on the counter.
In front of me as I'm taking shots.
Okay.
All I said was you set it on the counter.
Okay. No, you said you left my phone. You said I left my phone.
Okay.
It was in front of me.
Okay.
I just want to clarify. Okay.
Her phone ended up loosely on the counter.
Sure.
Okay. Not in her pocket.
Not in a purse, not in a pocket.
Could have been in a coat pocket.
Okay.
But either way, that's my
pink
point.
coat?
Yes. The pink coat.
Yeah.
That more or less describes like that type of party. You should just keep all your stuff.
Yeah, you're
on
not.
you.
You're
But
not no loose items.
I wasn't used to that.
I mean, it's in your defense. It's like you wouldn't really think, but I mean, people are quick. So I don't know. And so she put her phone down. We took shots, and then she notices it's gone, and she's like, "Oh my god!" And she starts like pressing me like, "Where's my phone?" Like,
this is also probably like. This isn't immediately. This is probably like an hour and a half
already
in. We had already been drinking through the night.
Sure. Everything's a little fuzzy. You put the phone down, you don't quite realize where the phone is.
Yeah, she says it's right in front of her. But probably really
the
wasn't.
vision's a little slower.
The whole time.
Yeah, she's like, I looked at all three of my phones. So, yeah, I was like, I mean, I don't see it, you know? And she's like, somebody took it. And she's like, starts asking everyone, like, who has my phone, whatever. Everyone's just like staring at her, not saying anything. And I'm sure so many people saw, and they're just like,
yeah, I'm sure someone literally took it out in front of my face.
Sure. And then she's like looks at me and is like, get my phone. And I was just like, looked at everyone else. I was like, your phone's gone. Like, we're not.
Yeah, you're like, I'm not going to be going into everyone's pockets
I also
here.
got my phone stolen twice in like a 6-month period that we were together. Remember, it also got stolen when we went to Flognaw. I don't know. Okay, anyway. But I was actually looking through photos of like that time period, and I have so many photos missing because twice my phone got stolen like during that year period. And my photos weren't backed up.
She keeps putting it right in front of her when she's drinking.
Yeah, she just thinks somebody's gonna be like, "Oh, excuse me, miss, your cell phone, your iPhone."
Well, that's the crowd I'm used to in the Christian community.
They say a prayer for you before as they give it back.
sister in Christ, I noticed your background. And I just...
No, they go, oh, the Lord led me
here.
over here. I just knew I was coming here for some reason. And the Lord led me to bring your phone back.
That was not the crowd.
Yeah, wasn't the crowd. So yeah, I was like, it's not going to be possible. Your phone's gone. That's it. And so she was like, I want to leave.
No. You know what happened? I want to clarify, and it's not in defense. It actually makes it worse. I started basically throwing a fit where I was like, fuck you for taking me this party with the type of fucking people, and I'm probably yelling in front of...
And she's yelling, like, everyone's hearing this. And I'm just like...
I'm like, fuck you for taking me to a party with these type of fucking people that are going to steal my phone in front of my fucking face. Like, I don't really remember it that well, but I'm pretty...
Yeah, that is pretty accurate.
I think that's what I was
because
saying.
I was just like, okay, well, I need to now grab her and leave this...
Immediately. Because this is not...
So yeah, we get in my car, which... wasn't a great idea. And then,
The next thing I remember was so this is another thing about drunk me, is that I've told Jess before, and Chris can certainly vouch, is that when I start drinking and when I drink too much, I just fall asleep.
Yeah.
Do you remember when we were in San Francisco?
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Put a pin in that. Talking about leaving her phone places. Good Christ. This is how clueless. Okay. So, yeah, she passed out in the back seat.
The next thing
car.
I remember waking up is a cop pulling me out of the back of the car.
So, and
I
we'll
wasn't...
spare the rest of the details on there, but pretty much, yeah.
And then, no. And then in front of the cops, I was screaming at him, going like, I'm never fucking talking to you again. Fuck you.
Cops felt so bad for me.
He's
did.
the one in trouble, and they
cops
felt
were like,
bad
wow,
for him.
Yeah, just like, dude, would have done the same thing, brother.
And he's like, trying to like touch me, whatever. Like, don't fucking touch me. Like, just, putting on a whole show. And that's another reason why I don't really drink anymore, because problems arise.
I was like wanting to go out with Bekah soon and go drinking. I'm like, maybe we don't.
You know what? I'm totally fine with friends. It's when, I've said this before, it's when significant others come into the picture that it
gets a little hectic.
Messy.
Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, things often got messy between us. It's just like in a relationship. It was definitely like the most toxic relationship I've ever been in. Like, and I'm not saying that you're toxic. It's just like our dynamic was pretty unhealthy.
So you guys moved to Los Angeles at the same time. How long does this last? When does this end?
Well, yeah, I didn't have plans on moving to LA.
Okay.
Like, at all. And but she was moving, and so that obviously just kind of followed. Which it worked out because my best friend was also moving out and wanted to move to LA, so it did all work out. But I think how long did it last after? Not relatively shortly after we moved. Like,
it was maybe like 8 or 9 months.
8 or 9 months or so.
Okay.
And then we broke up, which actually the catalyst for that was another like drinking night out scenario.
Oh my goodness.
Remember when we went to what's her face's house? I'm not going to say her name. And then we were in the Uber, and we were with our friends, and I don't know if you remember this. Do you remember any of this? No, you were blacked out that night. You were blacked out that night, and we were like arguing in the Uber, and like we're literally just straight up fighting with each other.
Yeah.
In front of 2 of our friends.
Yes.
Fighting at another house party.
Yeah.
Just being like those fucking friends that everyone hates to go out with.
Sure.
Do you think the people hated to go out with us though? I don't think so.
I believe after that night, my friend now hates you for it.
Well, I think, okay, I'm going to put a pin in that also.
Okay.
But that was just a catalyst because things were just like, things would just get out of hand, like, and would just get out of control, and it would just get so like messy. Like, I remember one night when we were fighting at your house, and it was literally like 1 o'clock in the morning, and we weren't drinking, and we were fighting, and you were literally like went and took a shower and like put on cologne and we're getting dressed, and you're like, I'm going out.
Oh my God. Yeah, that was so funny. I was at my apartment. Yes. And oh my God. So that's the other thing. It was just like two really selfish, really petty people. And it was just like, and so, yeah, we were in a fight.
Are you stubborn?
I was incredibly stubborn then.
Okay.
And so, and she likes to voice her opinion, and I hate people's opinions at that time. So it was just like, but yeah.
I hated people's opinions.
Yeah, that particular night, like we got in a fight, and so yeah, I took a shower, got ready.
He was literally like, I'm gonna go fuck some other bitch.
I was like, I'm going to the club.
Yeah, he's like, I'm out. He's out. Yeah,
and
yeah.
to like make it worse, I like put on the shirt that she had gifted me, and I was like, this shirt's gonna work or whatever.
That was like a big, I mean, okay,
you put on the shirt and the cologne, and it's just.
And then of course he didn't end up going out, and then of course like an hour later
like,
we make up, and it's like whatever. But what I thought was funny were two things that came up a lot in the questions. One was people saying, the one that came up over and over again was, is Bekah like my way or the highway? And what I think is so funny about that is like Chris is yes, and or I would assume you would say yes, I'm my way or the highway.
Yeah.
And you are also Chris's way or the highway.
Yeah, so.
So it was two people who are my way or the highway.
Equations work, that one doesn't work out.
That's a little.
Yeah, you know, because two different highways, two different ways. So.
Yeah. It's either two positives or two negative. Either way.
It wasn't like two highways that merged together.
No. It wasn't like, it was like, oh, we have one the same highway. But that's the thing, though, too.
It was more like two cars going on the same highway in the opposite direction.
It was like a head-on collision, north and south.
But the thing that I feel like relationships like that, which then can get, where then you get drawn back in and sucked back in, is that like if our highway happens to be the same, then we are passionately driving down it together.
Oh yeah,
and it's great. Yeah. But then
if someone turns the car around, then you're like, "Woo, we're cruising!"
Yeah, exactly. Only one of us needs to, but that was always the problem.
Or if you both happen to agree about the same thing, then it's like, yes, we're driving down together, like Bonnie and Clyde style.
It's like the Smokey Robinson, like I love it when we're cruising together, and you're just like, wow, everything feels great, like things are awesome. And then and then 2 hours later and a couple beers, and it's just
all of a sudden the car's flipped around again.
Someone's getting pushed out of the car while it's moving.
Oh my gosh.
You're like, that's probably too close to reality. But another question that I thought was funny is like people were just like kind of clowning on because I posted photos of like, what I used to wear. But that was what was so funny is like we always used to do like our little outfits together. Like I would always buy him clothes, he would always buy me clothes and accessories. And then would argue about whether or not, you'd like buy a belt, and I'd be like, you said you bought that for me, and he'd be like, no, I bought that for myself, like that Prada belt.
Yes.
Like, no, I said you could borrow it. And I'm like, you said it was a gift. You're like, no.
Let you use it. That was...
You can borrow it sometime.
Yeah.
But
that was the thing that was actually really frustrating in our relationship is I felt like... I felt like sometimes you were like Donald Trump, where you would say something, and then 5 minutes later, I would be like, you just said that. And you'd be like, I didn't say that.
Well, because you wouldn't repeat exactly what I said. You would repeat it with a slight difference in it. I'd be like, well.
That's not exactly what I said. So no, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Invalid.
Gotta be precise.
You're kind of like Donald Trump. I mean, that is so wild.
Well, I remember feeling that way sometimes where I'd be like, you just said that. And you're now saying that you didn't say that.
Or maybe I just didn't remember I had said it. Because that's very...
Right. It was the weed.
It was the weed.
Blame the cannabis consumption.
I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
Plain stupid.
Well, what was the other thing that you said put a pin in? Halloween. When in San Francisco.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so us and some, her friends, we go to this really big Halloween party in San Francisco.
Okay. It's like a 4-story house.
It was like...
Well, and Halloween in San Francisco, too, was always...
Yeah, it was actually a really crazy house because it had a massive backyard, but it was like a 4-story house, and you would think it's like multi-units, but it was like somebody's single residence, like a single family home. It was like, wild. And
just a whole bunch of like 22-year-olds living there.
Just on every floor, like packed, whatever. So at some point in the middle of the night, she's gone. I don't know where I was.
Is this something that happened a lot too when we would go out, where I would just like disappear?
You would kind of disappear.
Yeah.
And I would do the same thing. I would just leave situations.
Oh, okay. We're gonna get into that.
So you guys both of you would just disappear on each other.
Yeah, we just get really drunk and just like leave.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know you, but something about Bekah, I'm like this whole the disappearing, it just lines up. Just all of a sudden it's just like, where is she?
So yeah, we couldn't find her. We're going through.
She's sleeping somewhere in a closet.
Yeah.
So she's sleeping.
Actually, I think I told the story on the podcast. Yeah.
Oh no! Am I for real?
No, I was.
So basically, I thought you knew. Okay, so
no. I'm
her.
like, I feel like Bekah, I'd open a closet and be like, oh, there she is.
So we looked for her for like 20 minutes, can't find her anywhere, and sure enough, she's asleep in a closet, random closet, but people found her. Some girls found her, right? Okay, and instead of Bekah being honest and being like, "Oh man, I'm sorry, I just needed somewhere quiet to pass out," she was like, "I don't know how I got here," or something. She's like, and they're like, "Where are your friends?" She's like, "I don't know," and they're like, "They just left you." She was like, "They left me," and so. All of a sudden, while we're trying to find Bekah, this like parade of like
mob of girls.
Yeah, this parade of women start coming up, like
I'm like, that's them.
Yeah, she's behind them, and they send the biggest girl in the front, and they're like, and she's like them, and they're like, "Are you guys fucking serious?" And we're like, "Whoa!" And we're like, "Oh, dude, there you're at." And they're like, "You really let?" We're like, "Dude, we've been trying to find her, like, and
we've been trying to hunt her down."
Yeah,
so, I'm just there, like,
sure enough, she formed a posse.
Yeah, she's got her girl gang. It's just like, excuse me, how dare you leave her?
I literally found like a beanbag in a closet.
Yeah, she was like on top of like 4 different size luggage.
She's like having just a wonderful few hours of sleep, like blissfully sleeping to recoup. Oh my God.
That wasn't as bad though as your worst moment, which was my 21st birthday. And I was literally just recounting the trauma of this to Gray on my birthday a couple months ago.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
Uh-oh. So it was my birthday. We went out to dinner with my family. We went to a really weird house. My friend was house sitting.
Yeah, that was... I think that's probably why I left. I was creeped out.
It was really dark.
I was creeped out.
One of my friends was house sitting for this woman's home. She had lost her husband and she was a hoarder. She was like in her 60s.
Okay.
And it was very dirty and very filthy stuff.
Yeah.
So we're like drinking like Sierra Mist and rum, or probably
and
something
Coors.
like that. And Coors.
Yeah. Coors sounds
Banquets.
Great.
No, the silver ones. Or
the purple
No, I think
mountains.
it was the silver ones. I literally have photos of me drinking them.
Then those are Coors Light.
Yeah,
Coors
Light.
Yes.
So,
like I know my silver.
Literally, I am like, he's in the kitchen with one of our friends drinking. I'm in the living room with another friend drinking. I didn't think this theme would be about how destructive alcohol can be in relationships.
Yeah, maybe we were just drunk.
I was going to say, maybe you guys
maybe
it was
a substance issue.
Yeah, maybe it was a substance problem. Just as an outsider hearing it, I'm like, maybe that's what's going on.
Okay, but to be fair, the worst stories are coming from when we're drinking.
Sure.
But I think the toxicity just comes out once we're drunk.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like we definitely had plenty of sober arguments and fights as well. And it wasn't like we were drinking. I mean, we would probably party like every weekend, but it's not like we were like drunk all the time or anything like that.
Not really.
It was kind of typical 21-year-old behavior.
Right.
Which is kind of crazy to think back to, of like, you think, I'm just like, oh my God, we were like babies. We were only like, children. I was 20 and you were 21.
You're so well versed in the world, you know?
You're like, we got a shot to make this work long term. It's like, oh my God.
You can't even rent a car yet.
Literally. So, basically I was like, where's Chris? This is also at like 9:30.
Okay.
This is like this is like early in the night.
So it's not like 2 a.m.
No.
Where's Chris? Okay.
No, I'm like,
No,
like the night's beginning for my birthday
like, no.
celebrations. Then I'm like, where's Chris? Not in the living room, not in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
He's just gone. So then I'm texting him, like, where are you? And then I'm getting the dots like he's typing, and then they just stop. And then typing, and then just stop. And I'm like, basically, long story short, I was just like trying to figure out where he went, trying to call him. He wouldn't pick up. He would type and then stop typing, stop typing. So, of course, I'm drunk.
I'm just picturing calling on your phone, just bawling, like, it's my 21st birthday.
That's exactly what happened.
Oh, I was, but he wasn't picking up. I didn't have anyone to talk to except my friend. So I was sobbing uncontrollably because I'm also drunk. And so I'm like, what did I do? Right? I'm like, my first thought is like, what did I say?
Yes.
What did I do? Why is he mad at me?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like that's all what's going through my head.
What it was.
I know exactly what it was, and I'm about to say it. So, like, it wasn't anything. You got too drunk and were like, I need to see myself home, called an Uber, and just went home.
Yeah.
And just,
I would always do that for some reason.
Oh, you would do the like Irish exit.
Yes,
You just wouldn't.
yes.
Yeah.
yes.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
And
Because I get too drunk and I'm just like, nope, later.
And I don't know why he was like trying to type something out and then just like not
I think I was
sending.
trying to.
He was
doing my
probably
best.
like, he was too dizzy. It's like you look down at your
Yeah, I
phone,
was
you're like,
like,
I'm going to throw
nope.
up if
So
I keep looking. It's
I'm
just
like, he's
stop.
typing out a novel and is like not hitting send. You know, like what is happening? So I was sobbing uncontrollably.
I feel
One of my
drunk right now just hearing this story. I'm
know.
like, if I've been drinking,
Yeah.
it's a
No,
little bit
it's-
spinny.
And our friends Justin
Yeah.
and Neil, they're like holding me like on the couch. I'm just like sobbing. Then they drive me home and I'm just sobbing. It's like 10:30 when they drive me home because my night is ruined because my boyfriend just disappeared.
Oh,
and I didn't know where he went.
And cut to you just being in your house, just like having the spins laying down.
just trying to like stay alive.
Oh yeah, and I think you threw up like all over your floor and you like woke up to your mom like bleaching your bathroom.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, Mom.
And then yesterday it was literally like, oops. I mean, yesterday, the day after, it was like, oops, sorry. Like, I just got too drunk and like went home.
Kind of understandable though, right? Right?
You're like,
Let us know in the comments. So, Rod's
Yeah.
understandable?
I have to
on.
say,
Not so much.
I can relate to the disappearing when I get too drunk. I used to do that when I would drink too
Do you
much.
think you'd walk 15 feet though and be like, hey, babe, I'm too drunk?
No. That's,
You would think you guys would notice that I was walking out. So who's really at fault here?
But no, you should. No, you should do it. You should do that. But I know sometimes when all of a sudden the drunkenness hits me out of nowhere, I'm like, I'm about to throw up
Yeah.
right now, or like pass out on the ground and cause a scene. So I would quietly leave.
Yeah.
But it's her 21st birthday.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
didn't know that at that point.
No.
You
didn't know who I was.
The universe was
You're
upside down in my head.
I had no idea it was your birthday. Okay, broads, one more quick pause from this X session. Here at Chatty Broads, we live for a natural wellness routine. If you listen often, you probably already know that we are huge fans of Native for all things natural wellness, like toothpaste, body wash, and especially their OG product, their natural deodorant. And now, Native's natural deodorant is getting even better because they just released their new improved plastic-free packaging.
Love it. What's on the inside of a Native product has always been top tier, and now the outside matches that because their new packaging is so cool, 100% plastic free and recyclable, and compared to traditional packaged deodorant, it's saving 27 grams of plastic per bottle. And Native does not stop there. They take it a step further. As a partner of 1% for the planet, 1% of all the sales of their plastic-free deodorant goes back to environmental nonprofits. And deodorant is something that most everyone is buying one way or another, so you might as well put that purchase to good use with Native.
The packaging at Native may have changed, but we promise the product that you know and love is still exactly the same, paraben-free, aluminum-free, paired with 24-hour protection and available in 10 amazing scents, including all of the classics like coconut and vanilla, my current favorite. But you can even get sensitive formulas and unscented if you'd rather have that. The team at Native has thought of everything to keep you smelling your best all day long.
Are you ready to try a plastic-free deodorant? Go to nativedeo.com/chatty or use promo code chatty at checkout and get 20% off your first order. That's nativedeo.com/chatty or use promo code chatty at checkout for 20% off your first order.
So I've been trying to be better at being a conscious consumer when possible, but sometimes it feels like there isn't a better option in the moment. For example, I love a clean house, and up until recently, that meant a lot of plastic waste that I didn't know how to avoid. Just to be clear, I do mean a lot. Each year, about 5 billion plastic hand soap and cleaning bottles get thrown away. Thank God Blue Land came along with a much better solution.
Blue Land came up with a revolutionary refill cleaning system that fosters a cleaner planet by eliminating plastic waste while creating powerful, effective cleaners that you can use for your entire home. Blue Land allows you to buy their refillable bottles once and then reuse them forever. Just drop in one of their hand soap or spray cleaner tablets into the bottle filled with warm water, and in just minutes you'll have powerful cleaning products ready to use. Available in a variety of scents that will leave your house smelling amazing, like Iris Agave, Perrine Lemon, or the one I've really been using is lavender eucalyptus. I love it.
And if you don't know where to start, I would suggest their best-selling Clean Essentials kit, which has all of their most popular items, but I'm also obsessed with the hand soap sets, the plastic-free dishwasher tablets. I use them always. Blue Land really has a product for every inch of your home. Blue Land's reusable bottles start at just $10 when you buy a kit, and the refill tablets will cost you only $2. You'll be saving the planet plus saving money thanks to Blue Land.
And right now you can get 20% off your first order when you go to blueland.com/chatty. That's 20% off your first order of any Blue Land products at blueland.com/chatty. That's blueland.com/chatty. So that was just, yeah. And so when we broke up, it was just kind of like I ended it. And actually you were pretty like trying to like get back together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And it was the most traumatic thing to ever happen to you. No, I'm just kidding. But you were just devastated for years. No, but so I ended it. And I remember when I ended it, I was just kind of like, I'm done. I just remember being like, and just sort of, I don't know. What's your perspective?
It may have had essence of that flavor of I'm done, but it was definitely a lot more emotional on her end as well.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we were sort of like on and off for like a couple months before we like finally broke up. Like we had like broken up a couple times and then be like crying, getting back together. No, and the hardest part was definitely the breakup. But I felt like after then we were separated, then I was like, okay, that like really needed to happen, was sort of where, because I don't know, anyway, keep saying your perspective.
No, that's pretty much it.
But like, did you feel like you understood at the time where I was coming from?
No, not so much. But also at the time, I really didn't think anything I was doing or the way I was a problem either.
Right.
So it's like, I was like, I'm perfect. I don't get it.
Why would she ever leave me?
Makes no sense.
Yeah.
Well, and you said the other day, and I'm curious, like you said that I left, which is an interesting wording. You said that like I left an unsavory taste like in your family's mouth. Why?
It wasn't because of the breakup.
Oh, well then why?
They just were never your biggest fan.
Well, and here's what I think.
Okay, hold on. Now I need to.
This needs to turn into a beer.
Let's bring
it back to 2015.
Let's start doing shots and see where this lands in about 30 minutes. No, okay, so
talking to cops.
So why were they not Becca's biggest fans?
I know why.
They all had their different reasons for the most part.
Well, I will say that, and this is a good thing, that Chris has strong female personalities in his family. Mm-hmm. It's a good thing.
Yeah, 100%.
And I am a strong female personality.
Okay.
So that in itself, the tribe didn't take it kindly.
Were they like were they not fans because they were also seeing then the toxicity that was going on in that dynamic?
I also think that they didn't think there was anything wrong with their baby boy.
There's that little aspect of that too.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it may have been like your whole demeanor or something. I'm not sure.
Okay, here is my perspective, and tell me if you think I'm right. I think that I got along with the women in your family. Like, we could vibe with each other, and like we could connect. But there was...
Say that. Yeah, there was...
Do you know what I'm saying? It was like we could understand each other and get each other. But then it was like, yeah, and I don't want you dating him.
Yeah, like it would have... I'm sure they would have been like, oh, yeah, I like this girl a little more if she wasn't dating my brother.
Right. Like if you guys were just friends,
yeah,
it would have been a different dynamic.
Probably would have been pals. I mean...
Yeah, it's a reach, but...
I got along well with your mom. I did. Like, she and I would have conversations, and she did not like me with you. Sure, she did not like you to be with me.
Yeah.
But I will say that she did like me. From my perspective, in the way that... I mean, she's not like she was just being straight up fake.
No. Loved you.
I'm kidding. Do you know what I'm saying, though? Do you agree?
Yeah, I get it. You guys could hang out.
Okay, I can't tell if you're being sarcastic or not.
It wasn't like you said, she just was not thrilled me being with her.
Well, and also just for a little context, at this point in his life, Chris would literally didn't know how to do laundry and would save up his laundry and then would drive to Fresno once a month, and then his mom would do all of his laundry, and then he would take all of his clothes back to LA. So just to give some context clues into the family dynamics.
That
Understood.
And you
You're like, and I'm driving up tonight.
Yeah, and I just got back.
And you had a great car, and you just said you're living the sweet life.
It's still sweet, but it was parents. They're good. Good things.
Like, I don't know what she was talking about with this whole Thanksgiving situation with the family.
Now, what do you think about how my family felt about you?
Yeah, I was just about to ask that.
Thinking back on it, I think they just thought I was like a blip in her timeline. And probably thought I was stupid, to be honest.
Do you think that they thought you like did stupid things, or they thought you were stupid?
I think both.
I don't think they thought that you were stupid. I think that they just thought that you were like young and stupid. Do you know what I mean? Like, not like you were stupid, but that you were being an idiot 21-year-old.
I'll take that.
You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, what about my dad? Because that was the question that came up too.
I think initially I was intimidated only because, but then I immediately wasn't, because I was like, this guy's he's like just trying to be intimidating.
But he's not, though.
But he's not. That's what I'm saying. But initially I just like body language.
Initially you were intimidated by him, and then you thought he was trying to be intimidating.
Well, yeah, I was like, oh shit. Like, okay. And then like I met him, and then after like, a few moments into that interaction, I was like, I think this guy's just trying to be intimidating.
Okay.
And so I relaxed a little bit, but yeah, I mean, your mom's obviously super nice.
I just think you always put on this show with my parents where you were just like, the church, like.
I never.
He's like, no. I mean, but why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? Right?
It wasn't a show. I was just withholding all the activities that we would do. And she would want me to go in there and be like, super transparent with her, like, yo, we're about to go down to the corner house, and
it's like, especially if you're coming from a conservative family, so you're like, I'm gonna,
well, and he is too. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry for reading the room.
No, but I think that was my parents' beef with you, though, was like they knew that you were bullshitting to a certain extent.
Okay.
I mean,
I can't fault you for it, but I guess I just think that's...
It wasn't a lie. It wasn't like I made up being a worship team.
No.
You're like, I'm just a dynamic person, and I have a lot of friends.
I know
it's not my fault that I'm friends with everybody.
Well, we would literally argue about the Bible, too. we would literally like argue about.
You two would argue about the Bible? Okay.
Yes. Like I literally remember getting beers at Sequoia Brew and we were like arguing about some like.
Oh my God, that's.
I love those
so
days.
cringy.
We were literally like arguing about whether like everything in the Bible was true or not. And we were both like at one point, we're like in the car in front of your house. Oh my God, we would spend like hours in the car in front of your house, just like fucking arguing, fighting. And we're like at one point, like we're in tears, like are like fighting over this.
Just,
that
like,
has to do with some sort of like biblical theology. Like, you remember that?
That I must have intentionally blocked out of everything. That is ridiculous.
Yeah, but then so our relationship ended, but then it's just interesting because very shortly after I got into a whirlwind relationship with another guy. That is the one, you know who I'm talking about, and that is the one person I am not on good terms with, who I used to date.
Him interview.
No, I didn't. No,
He's
no,
next.
No. No. I hope I never see him again, but I hope he's doing well and wherever he is. But yeah. What was funny is during that time, I remember venting to him, that boyfriend at the time, being so heated of like, oh my God, Chris said some shit to me, like said something to me on Instagram or like fucking text me this, or like I saw him at this party and he did this. And I was like so mad. And I remember that boyfriend at the time being like, why do you give a fuck? Like you guys are broken up. Like, why do you care so much? And I was like, I don't, but like, it
Classic.
just makes me mad, and I was still so heated and obviously still so like emotionally involved in like, because you know what they say, the opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. But I was just like, I hate him, everything just pisses me off. And then what is very interesting is it was right around before and after The Bachelor was filmed, where we were, I don't even know, entangled. We weren't dating, but
yeah.
So wait, before and after
yeah,
the show?
Because I was actually on the phone with you when you were in line.
at the audition.
At the audition, yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Now was Chris the ex that you called immediately after you got kicked off?
Actually, no.
Oh, uh-oh.
Nope. I was the second one right after he didn't answer.
No, I talked to him on the phone, and then when I landed in LA, I called Chris to come pick me up.
Got it. Okay.
Actually, though.
What was it like watching her on the show?
Wait, did you think, when I called you, when I was auditioning, did you think I was going to get cast?
To be honest with you, yeah.
You did?
Because what's crazy is you in line detailed out your entire plan.
Oh my God. Tell me everything.
Like damn near like almost every step that she did, like it was all part of the plan.
Meaning what was do you remember your plan?
She calls me Trump. You're plotting and planning, scheming.
No, I just don't remember. Like because it's hard because then I lived it all, so I don't remember if I said that,
I mean, initially you were just doing it for fun or like,
of course.
And I think in the back of your head, you kind of knew you were going to get on. Otherwise, you wouldn't have had such like a developed plan for the most part. And like to get on the show, kind of develop some sort of foundation and go on from that.
Oh, you mean like on Instagram?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, and I remember that because I remember telling my dad, like, Dad, no, I can quit my nanny jobs.
Yeah, your dad's like, why are you doing this? And you're like, no, this is...
like, that's the only
she did
part.
it.
Like,
she did it.
See, I never watched her on The Bachelor. I know, because I just...
You didn't watch it?
No, you watched the first night with me.
Oh, yeah. But that was it. I never, like, watched on my own or anything.
Okay.
Not, like, intentionally. It's just not my show.
Sure.
But I'd be at people's houses, and they'd be watching it or whatever, and then... Of
and
course,
then here
they're
she
like,
comes.
Dude, like, and I'm like, yeah, yes, I'm not dumb. I get it. But yeah, never watched the show, but I always think like I I'm like, damn, son of a bitch, she did it.
She figured it out.
Cracked the code and did it. Yeah. But it was crazy after getting off the show. Like, no, literally, did you pick me up at the airport or was that Nick? I think it was Nick.
I don't think I picked you up from the airport. I don't remember that. I could have.
Maybe. I literally like spent the night at your house, either like the first or second night, like after I got off the show. Like, it is the funny thing is I was like, okay, off the Bachelor and like, all right, back into my life.
Yeah.
But what was really interesting, I think, about like that period of time was our relationship was like not, I mean, I don't know how you remember it, but like our relationship was not really like toxic at all during those like 6 or 7 months.
No.
That
interesting.
Interestingly enough, it
was there
like,
less alcohol and partying?
No.
Okay.
No, because you remember when we got off the show?
Yeah.
Remember, we were partying a lot.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's when I met Jess.
Yeah.
No, I think there was just no like relationship aspect to it.
Okay,
Exactly.
so it was just more like friends, the occasional friends.
Yeah, because during that time,
situation.
exactly. During that time, because we each would be like talking to like other people and like talking to each other about the other people that we're talking to.
But we were very much still like we would go shopping together and like, well, I think part of the reason that it was less toxic is because like I felt like you were giving me like more attention and were like just being a better, well, you weren't my boyfriend, but I felt like you were just like being a better boyfriend.
How long after we broke up to after The Bachelor?
Like a little less than a year.
Oh.
Maybe. But like, I mean, you would like, not that buying things matters, but like you would take me out shopping and you would like buy me things and like surprise me with things and would like, you know, like take me out on dates.
That all seems like the only difference is finances.
Well, okay, but it was like
something to be
She was
said
like,
for
not that like you would just buy me things, but you would buy me things. You would buy me dinner.
Okay, but you can't pretend like special attention doesn't make someone feel like taken care of, right? Like,
no, of course.
Like if you, yeah, it's like when you're first dating someone, right? You're like trying to show your best side. You're like, you're showing that even if it is through money, you're still like, it's still being affectionate, right? You're like, I want to do this for you.
It's a love language.
Yes, exactly. So I felt like that was really different, but like we were like, I remember like being on the promenade and going to see a movie and we were like going out to dinner and we're like holding hands. Like it was like we were in a relationship.
It was very, and it's not like we like talked about it or spoke about it.
No, we did, because you said one time, you said like, you were just basically like, what if we're
back to the North and South Highway?
No, but we just talked about one time, like, what if we just had like...
We did.
I think all the questions could be answered if you and I just converse and everyone will just see exactly
there you
how...
go. Yeah, exactly. There's the dynamic. No, but like we had a conversation of like, well, what we're basically doing is dating. So like, what if we just keep doing what we're doing and like we can date other people or like pursue other people? Like, what if we just basically have like an open relationship? We had that conversation. But then what was interesting is like the more we got into that relationship type dynamic, like I do remember the more the arguments and like the fighting and the like toxicness came out. And I remember having that conversation with you where I was like, no, like we can't, because it's just like every time we start getting back together, things just start getting crazy.
Right.
And then it was actually, wow, I didn't put this together, but it was actually like New Year's Day. It was New Year's. It was the day that The Bachelor aired. And I was like, I made my New Year's resolution, like I wasn't going to have any ties to my exes at all anymore. None of them. Or anyone from my past, really, like romantically. And I just said like, oh, like we're not going to, like, I can't like keep seeing you like this, basically. And then, you know, everything after that was, this is something I've never talked to you about. And I want to talk to you about, like, everything after that was fucking crazy, because then the show aired. I was like traveling, doing my own thing. We didn't really talk at all. I met Gray in February, got pregnant in May. And so literally like a year after we kind of cut ties like that, I'm having like my first baby.
Yeah.
And I guess we never talked about, and I'm really curious, like, what was the experience like for you on your end of like kind of watching all that unfold?
Yeah.
Like internet fame, which is, remember, what I had always wanted. Like,
Yeah. Since she was a little girl.
You're like, nothing changed.
No.
She just technically got it.
but like watching that just play out like on social media, on TV. Also, I was just curious, like, I had another like ex-boyfriend be like, dude, people always ask me like about you since you were on the show. And he was kind of like, it's really fucking annoying. Like, did you experience that?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I didn't really think too much one way or the other about it. I was just like, in my head, I'm like, damn, everyone else gives a fuck way more than I do. It's like, damn, you know? Because, yeah, I don't know. I don't see you as like someone who, which obviously you have like a bunch of like followers and fans,
Right.
but like, I don't know. I just still see you as a person I knew. No.
Right.
But yeah, everyone else would view it as, oh, dude, you used to date like, so I'm like, well, they just really care a lot more, I guess.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's like, I guess if you were, for example, let's say you became like a celebrity drummer or something, I wouldn't be like, oh my God.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
You
that's
don't
my
all of a sudden-
ex-boyfriend.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and you would just know Chris is Chris. You
Right.
wouldn't know, be
and
like,
I would be like, oh,
he's
that's
this
cool.
celebrity. Yeah,
right. I'd be
yeah.
like, that's cool for him. You know, glad he's like doing his thing, but I don't think I
Yeah,
would
it's
be
just
like,
people
Yeah.
all of a sudden asking you about your ex, where most people don't ever ask about an ex, and now all of a sudden
Exactly.
you care about an ex because yeah,
It's just for them. They just wanted to have some sort of conversation that had to do with a celebrity, or a famous
proximity to
person.
clout.
Exactly, name dropping.
Yeah. Well, what about like, be honest, like what was that like when you like found out? And that was a question someone asked, like, were you surprised when I was like having a kid? What was all that like?
Yeah, I mean, you had always talked about having a lot of kids, so that wasn't like, because I think that was one of the questions somebody asked, like, about was it a shock that Bekah had kids, and it's like, no, not really. That didn't shock me because she always wanted to have like at least 6 kids.
The numbers shifted a little bit.
Oh yeah, after the first 2.
to about 12 or 13. She's gone up.
Yeah, it's doubled.
Jesus. No, I think the only shocking thing was like you did meet Gray, and then so shortly after, it was like, whoa.
Trust me, it was shocking for me too.
Yeah, I think that in itself, in any, situation, it's just like, well, that was pretty quick. But
At the time, do you think it made you feel some type of way?
Yeah, only because you were like the first person that I was close with that was having a baby.
Yeah.
And like a lot of my friends now are having kids, so I'm like a lot more desensitized to it. But yeah, initially, I was like, whoa, what the, like, that's a trip,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like, just like, whoa. It's not
Especially
like-
not just even a friend. It's like, again, someone who you were in
Yeah,
a
it's
relationship with. And you guys were seeing each other up until pretty close before
Months
everything
before.
happened.
Also, like, had you been in love before our relationship?
No, that was the other thing, because I know you were in a pretty serious relationship prior to that.
Yeah.
And so you more or less had an idea of what a serious relationship was. She was the first person that was like an actual serious relationship for me.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I think just that in itself made that dynamic a little,
Well, and I think that's hard. I mean, like, I think I would be kind of salty and like I would have a hard time. I mean, it doesn't even matter if it's like the first person that you've loved or like the second. Like, I think that if I was watching that play out on your end and it was like 5 months after you were like, with your current girlfriend now and you're like having a baby with her, I'd be like, the fuck?
Yeah, but it's you.
Petty.
Yeah.
Oh, so you didn't feel that way?
No, not like I said. It was more of a shock factor that you were having a kid. Yeah, I didn't feel like that should have been me or like anything like that. Or just like,
but I guess I'm saying like when we had gone like back and forth on like commitment stuff, that wasn't a thing of like, oh shit, and now you're committing to someone after like you've been with them 3 months and you guys are having a baby together?
Yeah, I mean that aspect, because yeah, I think you had mentioned something. You're like, I'm just not going to see anybody. I want to take some time for me. And then all of a sudden, she like meets someone and has a baby. I was like, damn, it's dope, but that is pretty opposite.
Yeah,
just not seeing anyone, seeing someone with a kid. Too, so.
And another kid.
So, I mean,
yeah.
Okay, let's get into some of the questions because some people ask some really, really good questions.
While you look this up, I'm gonna turn the air on because Broads,
I've
it's
never
boiling
been
hot.
so hot in my
I thought
life.
the topic was just getting thicker.
I'm sorry, Broads, but it's almost 100 degrees in Los Angeles in the studio with lights on, so the air is going on.
Why don't you curate these questions?
Yes.
It's this bottom section of questions.
Okay. Oh, this is interesting. Was Bekah the jealous type? Was she a jealous girlfriend? Was she jealous if you were talking to another woman or when you went out and she wasn't there?
There's two sides to this.
I mean, I think you could be, for sure.
I think I could be, but I think I was pretty chill. You had a lot of girlfriends. And there were girlfriends that were just friends that were not just friends also that I was not being told the whole truth about.
Okay.
So there's also that aspect of it. Because I feel like I was pretty... Okay, and I won't steamroll over your answer, but from my perspective, I was pretty chill. But there were times where I was like, that's weird. Like, why are you guys smoking together at like 1 o'clock in the morning because you couldn't sleep? Like in your car. Like, Which I feel is like a valid thing.
Pretty valid. I'm not even going to look into the camera right now.
And like, oh, it's really interesting that, yeah, I won't go into that, but.
That's when the lighting of the moon is the best. Smoking or something. Yeah, the full answer is yes, she could be, but justified.
Okay.
So.
Like, I don't feel like if we were out, I'd get like mad if you were like talking to other girls.
No. And even when we were done, but during that like whatever month, how many months period where we're just like whatever, it was like opposite of jealousy. You almost like liked hearing about me and the stories I had with other people.
Well,
she's always been that way.
Listeners know a thing or two about that. Remember, I used to try when we would get drunk, I would be like, make out with her. Do it.
Not much has changed.
Bit of a voyeur. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm always trying to pressure. Yeah.
Best and worst qualities of each other. Best and worst.
Should we start with the worst and then go to the best?
Yeah, let's move into the nicer things.
Okay.
I'll let you start.
Worst. I mean, obviously at that time, right?
Sure.
Or like, I mean,
you could say now. I put a lot of my life on the internet, so.
I almost felt like you lived life like if you were invincible and everything was supposed to just like fold into your,
narrative.
Yeah. And it was just like, get a hold of yourself.
Expand upon that.
Well, that's just like one thing, but I just felt like you just thought like everything was supposed to just work out for you in any scenario. It was going to go your way no matter what.
And does it?
That's why it's the worst thing. I hate
it. I think, this is heavy.
Also, she would never wash her hands and always just like grab food that wasn't even finger food. It was like shared food with her hand. Never washes them, It's all part of the immune thing she had going on.
Maybe that's what the hand, foot, and mouth is coming from. And I would be
like, oh my God.
No, yeah, that's a really toxic trait of mine. Like, it'll be like Thanksgiving turkey and all like.
That's one of the things that put a bad taste in my parents' mouth was when she did it at
really,
my house.
Really rude. I know.
She did it in my parents' house. And it was like, and my parents, like, we don't like it's like you serve yourself.
You serve
My
yourself,
mom doesn't
you
even
put
let me
on
just
your
like use
plate.
a fork to. It's like
His mom is the type that like takes Listerine bottles and like puts them in fancy crystal jars
God,
on
yes,
in the bathroom.
Okay. So very particular about like, very
know her,
clean.
you know her.
She
Yeah, and
has
she's
like
very-
different serving platters for the different occasions.
for every type of thing.
Sure.
And she would just come over and be like, that looks good, and like dip her like God knows where those fingers have been, and yeah.
In my defense, that's how my mom always was too. Like my mom will like
Really?
like my mom like picks at things. Yeah. Like my
Yeah.
family, like maybe not my dad, but my mom will just be like, yeah, picks.
How funny.
We're very snacky people, and
What's
literally,
this?
I have me and my mom. The way we eat has been described as like birds by multiple
Yeah.
people.
What's this about?
We just have to like graze.
It's true, you do. You are such a grazer. She comes in and she's just like picking random things.
I'm telling you.
It's like,
Yeah. So yeah, I will agree. That's a pretty toxic trait. But, yeah, and you are always, and just in terms of washing my hands, not that I'm like dirty, but you are also like very particular and clean, where you're like, do not touch me. I have to shower.
Yeah, I take like two
showers a day. Yeah,
Yeah.
like, and I'm not that way.
No.
But
I'm
that's
close.
part of my charm, right? So, okay, worst trait. Honestly, like, I just think it was at the time, like, I don't, like, it's been 5 years, don't know you now, but like, I think like you're a really honest person, but I think you can also be a really dishonest person and like twist the truth in your favor, you know? And like twist it to fit, and I guess similarly sort of like your narrative of how you want it to go. Not in the same way though of like, I feel like what you're describing with me is being kind of like pushy and like trying to make things fit the way I want it to go. But I felt like for you, it was just kind of lying or omitting the truth or like twisting the truth. And just even after we broke up, and you would like cop to it, but then it's kind of like, okay, you eventually copped to it when you got caught, but like you were still totally cool with like deceiving me, you know?
Yeah, I didn't put too much thought into that, but yeah, I'm known to have done that.
Yeah. So I guess that would say the worst quality.
all right, best qualities.
Go for it.
Okay. I think one of the best qualities about Chris is like the ability, on the flip side of me talking shit about you being at the church and the trap house, is your ability to like just connect with people and like to just have fun and to kind of like shed whatever's going on in your situation and just like open up to someone and just like enjoy your time with them. And doesn't even matter what's going on in your life. You can like be present and like have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why like every one of my DMs is like, yep, Chris was messy, or like
Yeah,
such
but
a
at least it was fun.
but you know, you're gonna invite him to the party. Which like I don't think that's something to take lightly. I think it's like really quite a skill and like a great character trait to be like just open and inviting to everyone. And and this is something that's so important to me with anyone I'm with, is you would never judge anyone by like how much money they made, what kind of job they had. And I know your dad's like that too, of like, and my dad's like that also, of like, I'm not gonna treat you any differently because you're the busboy or you're the billionaire.
Yeah.
Like, if I feel like you're worthy of my respect, then I'm gonna treat you with respect, you know? And if I think you're a shitty person, like, you know, I'm gonna kind of treat you accordingly. So I think
good.
that's a really good quality of yours.
Yeah, appreciate that. I actively try to be like that. So
Yeah.
hearing that's a good thing. I think best things about you is how upfront she could be when she feels a certain way or has a thought. She'll just like say it exactly how it is. And how like emotionally vulnerable you can be when you feel a certain way, and you have no like shame or fear of like letting it out and like talking about it or just even going through it. Which at that time I was like always, anytime I felt any type of way, I would always just try to like suppress it or whatever. And so dealing with somebody who would always be emotional for the most part, I learned, I was like, oh shit, that's like how humans are. Probably like, you know?
I think that's kind of funny because I feel like, wouldn't you say a lot of people think I'm like unemotional?
Yeah, it's so funny to me. I feel like a lot of people on the outside will make comments about Bekah not being super emotional or being like, I don't know, having a wall up. And then it's so funny because it's like, yeah, as her friend, I'm like, oh no, Bekah will... I mean, you're not like some like this person who's like coming in like bawling and like fully ruled by emotion, but it's more like you are definitely in touch with your emotions and are very communicative about it as well. Yeah. And like is gonna say like, hey, this is how I feel, this is what I'm processing, this hurt, you know, I love this. Like you're very communicative in that way and in touch with that. Yeah, so it is interesting that people think that.
Do you think I'm a mean person or like a harsh person?
Not intentionally or by nature. I think there's probably some people that may perceive your body language or the way you say things or whatever as being bratty, but
bratty. I've heard that one from others in the past as well. And current. So, but isn't that kind of fun?
But wasn't that a good time for you?
It's all part of the allure.
Were you ever intimidated by her? Speaking of that energy.
Initially, yes, because this was also not only was it like the first serious relationship, it was also the first person that I didn't necessarily know.
Oh, okay.
Like, even though it was through a mutual friend.
Oh, right.
Like, so my previous exes, I had like hung out with them a lot before we dated, or we were in school together, or whatever
friend
it is.
Group or whatever.
Yeah, and even though this was a mutual friend, it was like the first person that was completely outside of my school district, outside of my friend group.
You were like, I don't know someone in Fresno?
Yeah, and that was the interesting thing, like to touch back, like how like the parties or situations we would go to, I knew everybody there. We were all from different schools, but we all knew each other. We all hung out, whatever. And like she had no clue who any of these people were. And her friend group was so like, well, you were like homeschooled and then, just so separated that it was like interesting. It seemed, because being in a place like Fresno, you really do know everybody. So it seemed like somebody like totally outside, totally new. So in that aspect, a little intimidating. So I was like,
and how would she roll in?
Although we actually had a lot of mutual friends because you knew people through Fresno Christian and stuff like that.
I did,
my private
but
school,
I didn't know initially.
Not super well, but
like,
yeah.
How would she roll in the situations when you were like, oh, these are all my friends, and then she would show up? Yeah.
It depends how much she was drinking. Yeah.
Okay.
No, but I mean, like, yeah, I don't really remember that. Yeah, how was?
Trying to think.
Was she coming in like super confident, or was it kind of like, hey, I'm trying to connect with a person or two?
No, I think no. In fact, I think you were just more like observant of the scenarios and situations, out of fascination and out of like probably safety.
Yeah, I was kind of scared.
There's the exit, just making sure.
No, I mean, and also just like being high sometimes. Like I remember there were times where I was like, and I didn't vocalize it to you, so it's not on you, but there were times where I was like really uncomfortable and just of like, I'll just get through this. Like, it's going to be over later. But like, I don't even think I ever said any of that.
No, that's why, like,
I just kind of wanted to play it cool, and I guess
you did for the most part.
there were times where I just like wouldn't say anything.
That's another thing I feel like about Bekah. I feel like a lot of the general populace, because of how you were on a reality TV show,
or the way I'm on the podcast or on Instagram,
that people are like, oh, Bekah's the type of person who's gonna show up at the party, like knock the door down with her foot and be like, what's up, bitches? If she doesn't know anybody. I'm like, no, Bekah, you're very observant. You're quiet. You can be shy sometimes when you come in, just depending on the environment. But I feel like people definitely have this perspective where it's like, oh, because I think on the show you came in and you came off confident on the show, where you were like, hey, everybody, what's going on? And you were kind of like ringleader energy. And I'm like, in real life, you're definitely more of an observer if you don't know the people.
It's circumstantial.
Yeah.
You know, I think when you're around the right people,
like you're super friendly when you like, which you don't know the people, and you're like easy to talk to, but you're not coming in like swinging from the chandelier being like, what's going on?
No, not usually.
I think when you're with people, like with the right people, she does not mind at all being the ringleader of the room.
Yeah.
And then I think in new scenarios, she is observant only to try to figure out the way to become the ringleader of this room.
And that is it.
I mean, we did have like
plotting.
We did have so much fun. Like, do you remember when there were a couple times, like I remember one time at my house where I had like the stupid like bread twist thing between my nose, like when we'd be with like Justin and Reshma, and just we would be just so fucking stupid dancing. Like, remember we would go up to my grandparents' house like for that birthday. That was fun.
Oh my gosh, actually that might be one of the most ridiculous stories, and it touches on two of the questions. What was the most ridiculous story or craziest scenario, and also her way or the highway, because it was her highway that led to one of the craziest stories. We went up to, and it was when you were moving, I don't know, you were moving or something because you needed to get a table or something from the cabin. Oh, that's a different
time, that wasn't on my birthday.
No, not on your birthday.
We were getting the couch for the studio.
The couch. Okay, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Just a simple trip. Sure. She was like, we're going to go pick up the couch, whatever. So, oh my God.
I don't even remember this.
Okay, so I borrowed my dad's truck because she was like, the roads would be fine, whatever. And my dad's truck wasn't four-wheel drive.
Okay.
Didn't really think we needed it. And I just had like a sedan car, so the couch wasn't going to fit in that anyway. So we go up there, and sure enough, it starts like, it was like snowing, like a bunch, and starts snowing like, it was like a snowstorm. And so I was like, and it was getting late, and I was like, yo, like, we should stay the night here. Like, this is not, like, I'm, and the tires were like street slick, like it was.
Well, to be fair, it's not that I didn't want to stay. That had to do with my parents too, where I was like.
It was like, I had no issue, like, apologizing to them after, as long as I was like still alive.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So she was like, no, we have to go. We have to.
Well, I
was
was
like,
really fucking scared though. It's not like I wanted to just, I would love to just crash and chill at the cabin. Like,
yeah, well,
but
we almost
crashed
and had to chill at the cabin. So we like leaving, and it's like these crazy hills out of there. And so and it's nighttime.
Oh,
and
no.
so she's like, we have to go. I was like, oh my God. So like, and this is where I was like, hedge of protection if there was a time. And so the truck's just like spinning, sliding. I literally, by the grace of God, made it out of there. And I was furious that I was forced to go through that. Yeah, hated it.
No, I was thinking about the time when we went for my birthday and everyone was up there and we had to
that
like.
shit was fun. That was fun. But it was like springtime or something.
Yeah,
it wasn't the snowfall.
It was a snowstorm and the most inadequate
crazy.
vehicle.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Did either of you ever feel like you were too good for the other one?
Yes.
Oh my God, that was so fast.
Well, yes, because and let me.
Chris's face, it's just shock. Clip it.
Okay, but I want to clarify.
Please.
Not like I was like better than you, like, oh, I'm too hot. No, like well, and this was a difficult part of our relationship. I always felt like, I know Chris is a good person. Like, I know he's a good person. I know he's a caring person. And you've said this, we've talked about this. You were so far up your ass during that time in your life in particular. And we were just talking about this the other day. You were like, dude, I can't believe like the kind of person that I was. And like, and so obviously I was no angel, not saying that, but like, I definitely felt sometimes like I was like trying to make something of our relationship and it wasn't working. And so I felt like sometimes like I'm like trying to like have a life and like career and like trying to do things with my life. And I felt like you weren't. And so that's what I mean when I felt like I was like too good for you. Like,
or maybe not necessarily better, but there was somebody better for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you ever feel that way?
No. Well, I don't really ever have those feelings about anyone, really. I don't know. I don't think any one person is better than the next.
No, and I guess, it's not like I thought that I was better than you. It's just, it was like, I think maybe I deserve more.
Sure.
Out of a relationship.
It was a quick answer. Chris is like, no.
You're like, yes. Make that extra loud, please. Just
Bump up the audio.
bump up.
Yes.
Bump up the audio.
On the buzzer.
What's the cringiest thing that she ever did?
Oh God.
Cringiest.
I mean, we talked about the
I do a lot of
the
cringy
yelling
things
in the
on a
party,
regular basis.
the
I think-
sleeping in the closet.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Getting on The Bachelor was cringy.
You know, and you're not the only one. Grayson felt the same way. He was like, I don't want to advertise the fact that I'm dating someone that was just on this show. Like, that's really embarrassing.
I mean, it's a cringy show. That's like that's like what it's. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, if you were on Jersey Shore, now that would be dope.
I was gonna say, I'm like
be
Jersey
sick.
Shore. I'm like that would be something to be.
That would be
Where
yeah.
you're like,
dude, I
you're
would
like-
ride that wave.
Yeah,
they still do.
Chris is a fucking.
I would be. That's when I would be
Chris
like,
is
yo, I used to
working-
date somebody who was on Jersey Shore.
Chris is working at the t-shirt shop
I
on
would
the
go- I'd be
boardwalk,
like, hey,
and his shirt
Yep, it
says,
was
"I
me.
dated Becca Martinez."
I was the ex. Yep. Heck yeah.
You'd show up on the show.
Yeah, I would
You'd
develop
do
an
the
Come
accent.
and get my girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would show up in the club and start a fight and
Yeah,
just be
just up in Pauly D's space.
yeah.
You're gonna
You wanna get
grind
my
on her
5
like
minutes?
that, Roger.
So that was the cringiest thing. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anything was cringy in that sense.
What was Becca like the mornings after a party? What was hangover Becca like?
Anxiety ridden.
Yeah, I don't think it wasn't really like. I mean, I think there's really just two different types of people when it comes to hangovers. Some people like literally you give them 15 minutes, they throw some water in their face and they're solid, or get some
This
coffee.
is not me.
No, she's the other type that are like, don't fucking touch me, and it's like okay, and then but it like. Yeah, and just surprised that there isn't like a platter of food just waiting and
Oh, it's the
You're like,
opposite.
where?
I'm like, don't bring the food near me.
oh
Yeah. Yeah.
no, we would
Me and Ed's. Well, yeah, that's true.
oh
It's
in
several hours
Fresno,
later.
though.
I don't know. Like,
I'm thinking like more here because we would always go to Nick's.
okay, so oh yeah, bomb. So I don't think I ever told you this, but like that morning after the Halloween party,
In Stanford?
yeah. Did I tell you about like my anxiety spiral, like panic attack that morning?
No.
So I didn't know, and this is another thing. Like I said, I wouldn't vocalize my discomfort when I was in, like now, if I was in certain situations with someone, like at a place where I didn't feel comfortable, I'd probably be like, hey, can we go soon? Like,
Right.
I'm not really like vibing here, and would just be like, I kind of want to leave, but I wouldn't. I would just like sit and like ride it out and ride the wave, be like, I'm fine. That morning, I don't know what it was. And it was like literally a catalyst for like a paranoia that I've had for years since. We were at that guy's house, that big ass house. Remember when someone slept under the stairs like Harry Potter? And that like they had a mattress like that was like in a closet under the stairs. It was one of Justin's friends.
Same house?
Yeah, no, different house. Anyway, okay, doesn't matter. Bunch of people lived there. We were like all laying around on the couch in the morning watching like Rick and Morty or something. And I found orange juice in the fridge and I like drank some of the orange juice. And then someone came in and was like, oh, I don't even know who's, I was like, sorry, like I drank some of the orange juice. They're like, I don't even know whose orange juice that is. And
Oh, don't tell me it was like laced.
no, that's where my head went. And I didn't say anything to anyone, but in my head, I was panicking like,
Because it's not uncommon at
It's
that time
not.
that there would be things in drinks.
Oh, okay. Yep.
and so I was like, there's acid in this orange juice. Like, and I convinced myself. It was not funny. It was horrible.
I wish I knew that then. I would have made it way worse.
Oh, you would have made it way
I
worse.
would've-
That's probably
She's like,
why I
that's
didn't
why she
say
didn't tell
anything.
you.
I would have been like, oh my God, not this orange juice. Dude,
So I was
I was
just like,
double dosed.
I just sat there on the couch, just like like trying to breathe through it. And then I was like, I'm going to go get a breakfast burrito. And I like went on an 1.5 hour long walk because I was like, if I'm going to come up on acid right now, I just need to be alone and just need to like clear my head. So I just walked around. I know, so sad, right? So I just walked around the neighborhood alone for like an 1.5 hours. I come back to the house.
Wandering the streets of San Francisco.
I was like, I'm going to walk to the park, find my happy place, and then I come back to the house and then I try to make myself throw up. No, maybe that was right after I drank the orange juice because then I was like, I'm going to try to like make myself throw up so I don't trip.
Oh my God. That's pretty traumatic. That's crazy.
It was hellish.
You were just quenching your thirst and all of a sudden your whole day's ruined.
Well, about 2 hours after I realized I'm not on acid right now. I'm not on any drug. I'm okay. And then I settled in and, we went about our day.
Hilarious.
But yeah, I was, it wasn't funny. It was actually horrible. But I don't think you even had I didn't tell anyone. I was just going through my own private hell.
And knowing me at the time, no way I'm asking, hey, hon, how you doing? You okay?
Are you okay?
They're like, hey, you should check. Nah, she's fine.
Why do you keep going to the bathroom when I hear you try to gag yourself? Why were you wanting to walk for an hour and a half?
She'll figure it out.
Oh, man.
I was going to say, one of the questions was, do you think, I would say, I'm going to edit the question a little bit, but from observation now, since obviously I know you guys aren't hanging out all the time, but from observation, do you feel like you've seen the other person grow?
I have no idea with Chris.
I don't really post too much that would show any, a lot of your life and day to day is definitely out there. So from my perspective, I mean, I think you're still, in a lot of ways, still who you were, and in a good way, not like all the bad traits. But I mean, I think that ends up being inevitable, growth.
Sure.
And then my end, I think it was a good relationship to constantly look back on and be like, oh shit, that was wild, and change the way I was, and personally think that I at least try to be a much different and better partner now.
Well, I was curious about that because you've been dating the same person now for the past 4 years, pretty much actually the same time as Gray and I. And what do you do differently in this relationship? I guess it's kind of intense putting you on a spot, but do you feel like there are things where you've made a concerted effort to do differently?
I just try to be more receptive to the partner's feelings or thoughts, emotions, things like that. Which in the past, like she said, I was just very selfish and just didn't really care much about that.
How do you think? Is there anything in particular that you've noticed has changed about me?
No, not too much, to be honest.
Okay, I felt like something just came to mind, and you were like,
"No,
I'm
just thinking it all through." And I think you are who you've been, just a little more refined, and you're displaying it in different aspects, but it's pretty much unchanged.
Are you surprised, or were we sort of oh, well, that checks out that now she's doing all of this? What did you what did you think I would be doing if you had to guess?
In what sense? What?
Just career and actually career.
Career. That part after, as far as what you would do after the show.
Yeah.
I figured that was a toss up.
Yeah. I guess what I'm saying is are you surprised that I made a career out of it?
No, I'm not surprised in the slightest.
Oh, thanks.
I'm not.
Because I know.
Thank you.
I get. Yeah, I mean, if even being on the show and whatnot, that's why it's it was never a shock factor because I'm good at it.
Move out of the way.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm coming through. Well, I think that's a good note to end it on. Chris, thank you for coming on the show.
Chris, thank you.
Do you have anything to plug?
No.
No business endeavors, nothing to plug?
Nothing that's worth
I'm actually going to look up Gianna's Instagram handle right now so I can say it properly because her
floral arrangements are
so dope.
Amazing. Chris, thank you for coming on though. So appreciated.
Yeah, of course.
I appreciate having a window into this. You know what I mean? And I love the idea too that you're saying that you're not surprised about anything and that Bekah hasn't changed, because that's always a question that I had as an outsider, because I met Bekah right after the show aired.
Oh yeah.
And so obviously I'm like, I've seen Bekah change in like massive growth ways and like personal journeys,
Sure.
right? But as far as like the spirit goes, I'm like, I don't feel like she would have changed like from being before the show to after the show. I'm like, I feel like Bekah is Bekah.
Just clothing maybe, but
Yeah, maybe
That
the
goes
style
through its phases.
The style choices are a little different, but in general, I'm like, I wouldn't have expected that. So it's, you know.
Yeah. I guess like we met in high school, and I don't know. I feel like what's kind of funny is at this point in my life, I actually feel like I'm revisiting like a lot of the things that made me happy and made me who I was. Like,
so to say, you're almost doing exactly what you were doing then.
yeah.
Like all the art stuff was the same exact type of art stuff you were doing then.
Oh, wow.
With like the, you were in that sewing
Yeah.
stuff and all that.
Yeah. So I feel like I'm sort of coming back to like actually like a lot of the things that I used to be into. And there was actually a couple years over the past few years where I like didn't care about like clothes or like art stuff, or I was just busy with other things, but I feel like I've been coming back to that, and that makes me happy. So yeah,
I love it.
kind of fun.
Well, thanks
Anyway.
for being willing to come on
Yeah, of
and let
course.
us grill you with questions.
Thanks, Chris.
fun.
You're
We
the
appreciate
best.
Of course, you guys.
And you can say chat soon, broads.
Chat soon, bro.
Chat soon, broads.
Chat soon.